But yeah.
Okay.
I guess
So,
questions and answers.
Well, first I'll say for the first thing, I wrote out this one shot, and I wrote out 3 encounters. You guys only experienced the first one, and then and I was just like, because my whole idea. So with the whole idea for the first encounter with the Christmas tree setting the loft on fire and all the enemies like in close proximity, I was like, I'm trying to force them out. I was like, at some point they will leave. I'm like, they're all like, there's a bunch of enemies around them. This whole place is on fire. They'll probably leave at some point, right?
No.
No. And I was just like, and once I realized, I was like, okay, yeah, they're not gonna leave. I was looking at the clock. I'm like, it's like 12 o'clock and they're not leaving. I'm like, all right, well, I gotta bring Krampus here. I'm like, they have to fight Krampus here. I'm like, because the whole thing was, in my idea, you guys would have left, and then that is when you would have met Santa. And Santa would have just explained that Krampus is after you for being naughty. And then I had but your friends would have been taken, so you would have probably still want to go after him anyways. So then I had another combat encounter where you like try to find him, but he turns more things to life. And then the second encounter was more of you're in Santa's sleigh and you are trying to shoot down Krampus as he's like flying through Santa's garden.
What?
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
And once you shot him down, he would have landed in which is basically like the Rockefeller of Sharn, where it's at the skating rink, and that's where the final battle would have taken place.
That's fucking wild.
I know it's wild. I know. I was just like, the chances of this going on.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's slimmer as time goes on.
Yeah. I was just like, as the clock kept going, I was like, okay, they can't do this. I was like, there's no way they're gonna be able to do this. But that's fine, just because like I don't really run a lot of one shots, so I'm like, that kind of it's a good lesson for me, because I'm just like, maybe don't play in 3 encounters for one shot.
Just play the concept and hope it goes that way, and if not, whatever.
Right. But another thing, so a couple things that really did just like throw my plans just out the way, other than like you guys not leaving, was you all kept trying to see Krampus, and I was just like, you were like, where is he? I want to see him. And I was just like, at that point, I was just like, you know what? He's at the end of the hallway, and he's gonna fight you now. I was just like, yeah, you see him. I was like, you see him. And then when you attacked him, because the whole thing was that I was like, he's gonna be there, but he's gonna be more like a presence. He's
lurking.
not gonna attack, right? But when you attacked him, I rolled a proximity die, and I was just like, we'll see if he's going to attack. And I rolled a 0, and I was like, fuck, dude. I was like, Krampus is definitely going to attack now. Cool.
I see. I never read the wording on that spell, and it just says that can hear you and it's within range. It doesn't say you have to be able to see it.
But
and I was just like, okay.
And I was fully expecting, like, if Krampus jumped into battle, be like, yeah, he uses his claws against so-and-so, and that's 45 points of damage. Like, I was fully expecting to, like, him to level us.
Dude, I was just like, my whole thing was like, with Krampus was like, his big thing is like capturing you and taking you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I wanted. That's why I made made you guys do so much grapple checks, because I'm like, his whole ability is, if you are grappled, he can just pull you into the sack. Just straight up. That's why he has to grapple you first, and then once you're grappled, he immediately has
Game over.
Well, that's easy for our team.
Yeah, it's all spellcasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever Xavier,
all hunters.
Let's say Xavier and I
that was so funny.
That was so funny.
Xavier and I sat around and like we talked about like what to expect and like what to plan and stuff. And I was throwing out like potential stat blocks that were like relevant to Sharn in a way. And eventually, like I threw out one, and I was like, well, I can't just give him one, because then if he uses that, I know what to expect. And so I was like, all right, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. And then like a day or two later on Reddit, somebody was like, here's a Krampus stat block, and I was like, Xavier, here's a Krampus stat block.
What's really funny about that is last year Kyle Swinman ran a one-shot, and this was like the exact premise that like Krampus was just like kidnapping kids.
Oh.
And I also fucked up that encounter because I just cast Hold Person on him, and he got stuck there, and we just all whammed on him.
Like, suck it, motherfucker.
I ended up taking those. I was just like, you know what? Let's just get a little bit of all.
A little bit of everything.
And I was just like, let me just take here and here and here and here, and I'll make my own Krampus. Oh,
I still loved though, like even so many spellcasters, and Gwendolyn as a monk can do fucking whatever she wants most of the time. Like we were still like, what do we do? Even though we have like dozens of spells at our disposal, we still didn't know what to do.
That was my big thing, and the fact that I was just like, when I made the first encounter, I was like, oh yeah, a couple imps, some gingerbread men, the mimics. I was like, yeah, that'd be easy,
Yeah, sure.
Easy stuff. Sure, they'll get by within like 20 something minutes. Sure. And I just was not expecting it to go that way. Another thing that the banishment thing, I was just like,
Banishment fucking ruins encounters. That is like
I was
the
like, I
one
don't even know.
I took that spell for a very specific reason, and that is to fuck everything up.
fuck everything up. Yeah.
It really does. It really
Part of
does.
me was just like,
My
dude,
ace in the
should I
hole, man.
counterspell this counter spell? Is this gonna ruin the encounter? Then I was just like, yeah, that's probably what I'd do.
Yeah.
But yeah, my whole idea for Krampus was that like, I was like, Sharn's like it's not the best place, and there's probably a ton of people in Sharn that Krampus would go after, and I was like, what if he went after the crew? And so my whole thing with him was he was supposed to like pick at all like the bad things that you've been doing, with varying lying to everyone about the internship, and Oleg just senselessly killing people without hesitation.
And I would do it again.
I love that we totally thought that it was just the prank thing.
Yeah, but that was our gut instinct. We were like, oh, it's because he pulled a prank. And then you're like, no, it's because he's lying to people about how his internship is going. It's like, no, it's fine. I'm safe.
Yeah, I was just sitting here. I was like, why is that the... And I was like, okay, I have to throw out some sort of lie to justify this now, because now Krampus is like a spiteful idiot or something.
Yeah, he came in just to get Oleg, and then he saw Varian do the prank, and he's like, all right, well, I gotta get this kid, too.
What? Okay, yeah, that's what I want to know. Like, what was all of our things? What would you have said for all of us?
Because you called...
Oh, yeah.
You said, was it Cornelius made the deal with the devil? Was that Cornelius specifically?
Well, you said deal with the devil, which it was Cornelius. Okay.
Ooh, Krampus all knowing over here.
All right.
Well, I mean, that was what the initial line, like, he just knows when you're awake, he sees you when you're sleeping, and all that. Like, Krampus knows everything.
What was everyone else
Well,
saying?
With everyone else, with Gwendolyn.
Yeah, what's Wendell? Because Wendell's a fucking ghost. Who is Wendolyn?
Jacob got it
people-
right on the nose.
All the
Lust.
people Wendolyn's been
Lust.
boning.
Ooh.
Lust.
That's good shit.
Gwendolyn would have been lost.
What you got to
And
say
then-
about that, Alan? I need to know. What's your comeback?
Huh?
What's your comeback for that?
Oh yeah. I mean, that'd be fair.
Wendolyn's getting fucking condemned by
Yeah.
Krampus, and she's like, yeah, that's fair.
Alex.
Donovan?
I feel like even when like she'd fight it, yeah, but like if that ended up in Krampus's favor, she'd be like, all right, yeah, that tracks.
God damn it.
Donovan's whole thing. I was like, this may be like a little mean, but I was going to pick up the fact of Donovan being a bad father.
Yikes!
Well, that's just empirically untrue.
Low blow.
But it was.
I would have been like, you try to raise a kid on your own, Krampus. Get off my back.
That's why I was like, maybe I'll save him for later just to see, because I was like, that would have been like.
I would have been like, I would have been mad, but I've been like, I don't have to explain anything to you, Krampus. You're putting people in a bag. What do you know about fatherhood?
Well, I feel like what maybe would have happened was like Krampus would have said something like that, and Donovan would have been like, "No, fuck you, that's not true." But then would have been like, "What if it is?"
I would have thought
Like,
about
if
it, and
I
I'd be like, "No,
yeah.
that's not true."
No, fuck you.
I don't believe you.
Then why are you not spending time with your daughter on Christmas Eve, huh?
As Donovan's falling,
Because she's
he's like,
hanging
"No."
out with her new jock boyfriend,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be a hover parent.
Your daughter is getting railed right now, and you're here at the huge department.
That's her business. I don't control it.
Holy shit!
As long as she's doing it safely, it doesn't matter.
Are condoms
She's
a
not-
thing in Sharn? It's
Yeah,
called
that's a
the
very
is-
progressively not father thing to say, though.
Is Varian scrying on her to be like, are you doing the magic equivalent of being a peeping Tom right now?
He doesn't know
No,
your
but I-
daughter.
I think Krampus would.
Krampus would.
In Great Castle,
Fuck, no, please.
yours would have been your punishment for giving up.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
Yikes,
You
yeah,
hated
probably.
yourself So
Now-
long ago, you let so many cases go unsolved. You
Ugh.
could have.
Sloth.
I was about to say I was starting to equate each of us to one of the 7 deadly
Yeah.
sins. I was about to ask before I made my determination.
No,
what
that's
would
fair.
Spike's have been then? What would
Spike,
Spike's reasoning?
I mean,
been?
Spike is also just a senseless killing machine too. So I mean, he's
Fuck.
easily just giving them.
You could Xavier, you can just say that about your character? Come on, man.
Damn,
But
bro.
I don't feel like either
Heartless.
Spike or alright, I know this might be like a difference in opinion when it comes to like Wrath, but I don't feel like either Spike or Oleg are particularly angry people.
No, it's
I
You
don't
don't have to be
imagine
angry to
them
kill people.
not that he's
No,
angry,
no,
it's not
but
that
I'm
they're
saying like
angry.
Wrath is the like if you're talking deadly sins, right?
Oh yeah, wrath is that like anger. So my whole thing for like was, and it was with the line of he was like, I don't know what's worse, the fact that you kill so many people or the fact that you don't care. That's the big thing for you. It was just like you don't hesitate to kill them.
And that might be a form of wrath in itself, of like, you're not like one to back down from it. Do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't specifically pick 7 deadly sins. I
Well,
just
yeah,
kinda-
yeah, yeah.
It's
I
just
was
an
I was
Sharnmas.
saying on
Just
the
equate.
Austin.
Oh, just
yeah.
okay.
That was what I started to equate it to as soon as you said something about Wendelin and Wendelin's lust. I was like,
Mhm.
there are 7 of us here if you count Spike. Shit.
The Spike's whole thing was that like throughout the war, like even in the museum thing, like he was talking about how like he stopped counting. Like,
Yeah.
he straight up stopped counting because he found it was pointless.
That's pretty typical, though. Honestly, not even like
Doesn't mean it's a good thing though. but-
That's real
No.
PTSD though. Like,
Jeez. Ooh.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, one
yeah,
of
but
the.
I'm not gonna let no goat man lecture me on how to be a dad.
I just
Like,
love that.
okay, nobody's
Oh.
perfect, Krampus. Stop being such a bitch.
yeah, I want to kill people. What the fuck?
No, he probably should have taken you. That probably was deserved.
Oh Jesus!
You are a murderer. Like, yeah.
Like he had a good point.
We're all murderers.
Oh man.
Don't
I
even.
never killed
But
anyone.
okay, but how willing are we in the murder?
Does it matter?
How
What is-
enthusiastic are we about
Yeah,
it?
do we relish in it?
Is it your first instinct?
Do you come a little when you do it?
A sin?
Ooh, ooh, is this being recorded?
It is. Well, yeah.
Oh,
it's-
no.
Yeah, that was.
Carson has revealed his
I'm
hand
sorry,
of
I
being a
did not
dirty,
realize
dirty pervert.
being recorded.
You're fine.
Talking about my daughter having intercourse and this. Carson, you revealed your hand. You're a dirty, dirty man.
It's not even just that he went for that aspect. It's just the way he said it too. She's getting railed.
Railed. Anyway,
The way you put
For
it.
Christmas, everybody deserves to get railed.
That's true.
Yeah. So why are we being weird about it? Let her mind her own business. She's a college student. You don't need to tell her what to do. She's an adult.
But
Everybody needs a dick in a box.
stick in the box. Stick in the
Step
box.
one. Got a hole.
yeah. Well, one thing I can't remember. I think I said this to you, Xavier. Like, I feel, especially for this group, you didn't even honestly have to prep anything. We would have like role played and made up a bunch of shit on the spot, and it would have taken the entire session. Like, we could have just made up stuff.
You guys were like so into the whole dinner party scene. I thought you guys would have gotten bored of it like really quickly,
man.
but you were just going. I was like, okay.
I want to get more into.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you mean there's
Yeah.
a creepy guy
I was
flirting
trying
with
to
another
set
woman?
Greycastle up with a nice lady.
I even had like I even had like the after party thing like thought up as soon like by the time we got there I was like, oh, after the party I'm gonna share a drink of this really
we'll
nice
share a
whiskey
drink,
with
yeah.
my friend.
And
I could
Oleg
never
was
afford it.
contemplating who he would have shot,
We
as
went
is
drunk
custom.
driving with Santa.
Yeah,
I
I wanted
thought-
to like I wanted to make I want to give the NPCs like character because I want to make the party seem like an actual
Real.
party.
Yeah.
I want you to actually think that this is like a party and you're supposed to be here. Like this is. I wanted you to get like the idea of like maybe this is what the session's gonna be. It's just like us at this party, and then everything.
We did. We totally did.
goes black.
I will
Also, all of those NPCs made up on the spot. I was just
On the
nice.
spot? No way.
Just
Nice.
like I said, dwarf woman. No, I should have had a list of all the races in Eberron, and I was like, dwarf, gnome, human, half elf. Yeah,
You
that's good.
monster. That's some crazy shit. What?
I'm just waiting for the next Noel character we meet.
Wow.
Hi.
Hi.
No, I even had like while I was sitting here, I was thinking like, oh, what am I gonna talk about at like the end of the session? Like, oh, you know, we all go home or whatever, this, that, and another. And I had a thought, and I was like, all right, okay. I was trying to think of like, if like Cornelius would have thought ahead and got like a Christmas present for Squinch and Amalia, since she effectively lives there like 50% of the time anyway. So I came up with one of them. I hadn't finished coming up with the other, and that was for Squinch because I was like, I always give him whiskey. I gotta give him something
dude.
special.
He's around you
Yeah.
24/7. It's like, it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
Holy
So-
shit. I know. I was talking to of course, between toilet cat breaks, I was talking to like Rachel about Rickon, and yeah, he has 20 hit points. But also, I did my very best to keep it like as true to everything as possible. So like I have my spell book, but I also prepared spells as if I was preparing for a Christmas party. And so all of my spells were only useful as like ritual spells or like out of combat stuff. So I'm just like, I'm useless. I cast Arcane Lock. I don't know.
One moment that stood to me was when the gingerbread men attack you. I had this thought that go through my head. I was like,
Kill him.
Rickon could die
I could die.
from gingerbread men. Like they could
How
easily
dare
kill him.
Yo, those cookies are gonna whoop your ass.
Whoop my ass.
That's so funny. I love that so
My
much.
mother always said sweets will kill you, but I don't think this is what she meant.
And it might be like a morbid, like masochistic thing on my part, but when I like determined, I was like, I have 20 hit points. I was like, oh shit, I only have 20 hit points. What the fuck's gonna happen? I was so excited. Because like, that's such a, like, no one dumps con. No one ever dumps con, so I was like, what happens if I dump con?
You're like, oh,
The absolute mad lad.
Absolute mad lad. But like, that just gave me like, and I think it kept up with the theme of like our campaign is like that forced me to one, take utility spells, but it also took me like it forced me to take non-concentrations, which is a huge shot in the foot for a spellcaster. And I had to start thinking, like, okay, what's not a concentration spell? And start looking at all that kind of stuff, and, like, what doesn't require concentration or constitution, period. And it was a really weird thing to, like work around. And I'm glad I didn't have to worry about it too much, because holy shit, that would have been so bad.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Or if I did cast a concentration thing, I would have had to, like, jump to the back and be like, okay, nope, other people, you're in charge.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me, I'm scared.
Well, hey, for the next time you need it, how to create the perfect spellcasting host.
Yeah. That's, like, and that was the thing is, like, all right, what's going to come in handy for a dinner party? I was like, Unseen Servant, Magic Mouth, the Resilient Sphere, and all sorts of stuff like that. Like, that's just fun. That's some fun shit.
Yeah.
That would create such an interesting dinner party.
And you did what was like a tiny hut or something?
Yeah, on the which I realize in hindsight technically mechanically shouldn't have worked, but it's Sharn, whatever. Like, create a climate controlled hut on the balcony. Sure. But that's why I was like, I did everything in my power to keep other people in the loop at all times. Especially, oh my god, I did my best. Spoiler alert, if this is sort of a Vox Machina thing.
Yeah.
Rick and Greycastle is a mark of detection. He is House Madani.
Really?
Oh.
Huh.
He is same as you. He is cut from the same cloth. He's just not in a part of the family.
Oh no, we've talked about that before. I remember that specifically talking about that when we first met him.
Yeah, he's well. It was sort of like a Varian felt something when like shaking his hand, but that was kind of where it ended. But you're effectively cut from the same cloth, and so that's why I was like, and of course, as a almost like like dying of old age man, and also like well traveled, I absolutely wanted to pull on like he's got to tap into Varian, like he's got to use some of Varian's like youth to help him through this. And so I was like, Xavier, please let me cast something with Varian in a way. Like I gotta tap into this and use it in some way.
I had so many spells. I was just like, I could cast Mirror Image. I could cast Mage Armor. Or I could do fucking Fireball if I really wanted
Yes.
to change this. But I was just like, all of those require a full round.
Yeah, and that was the thing is like, and honestly, that's good combat design, but as a player, it's also like jarring where it's like the combat was different from round to round. That's good combat design, but also as we're all spellcasters, we're also like, all right, I'm gonna plan ahead. And then by the time it gets to your turn, everything's different. You're like, oh shit, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, I feel like one thing that helped me with that, I watched this old video. I'm not sure if I remember who it's from. It was on YouTube. I think Zipperon Disney. He talks about combat flow.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that he really emphasized on is like, instead of just being like, hey, all right, Oleg, it's your turn. What do you do? Describe the scene beforehand and then drop it onto the player.
Different. It should be different.
It should be different. And that also, I've been doing it for a while, and I feel like that helps also change what's going on, because you can easily throw in a detail that just all of a sudden takes their focus off of one thing to another. It's really nice.
I personally really like the your own deck thing, because that's whenever I plan. Personally, that's whenever I plan my next spell.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's probably a better idea, because and it happened recently in Austin's campaign. We fought a Beholder, which of course is a nerve-wracking fight. And so every round prior, I was like, okay, I have this spell, I have this spell, I have this many spell slots, I have this ability, and this ability, that takes an action, that takes a bonus action, blah, 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 blah. But by the time it got to my turn, I was like, well, this person's in a completely different place. We can see this creature now. This creature's dead. Okay. And so yeah, the on deck thing. That's a good one.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I used to do that. I realized that I stopped doing that at some point, so I'm gonna try to be more conscious of starting to do that more, especially after the beholder
I
fight.
mean, when you're in the throes of combat, you're just like, oh, okay, this
Yeah.
now.
I find that also just really helpful for when like you have multiple enemies, because you can
True.
get kind of just like lost in initiative. You're
Yeah.
just like, I don't know who's next.
Yeah.
I'm the DM. I have a list. I get lost in initiative
Yeah.
sometimes.
That's true.
Just so many times I skip over someone's turn and I'm just like, oh, whoops, and I was staring at the list. I'm like, okay.
God,
Mm.
during Adventurers Guild stuff, when we have like 4 characters whose names start with M, like, fucking lose it all the time.
What was it? Mataris, Mahurin, May,
Hey,
and Milo,
Milo.
all in the
God,
same fucking party.
Trash. You're all trash.
Hey now,
You're Rockstar?
You're
I
rockstar.
just work here.
You just work.
I do.
Oh man, yeah, but that was so much fun. And honestly, like, as you see all the time on like subreddits or Twitter, and people are like, I want to DM, but how do I do it? And people are like, do a one shot. But DMing a one shot and a normal campaign, 2 entirely different beasts. Those are 2 different things.
Seems like it.
And even though like it's still a good introduction, like being a DM, they're still very different themes.
Yeah.
Different pacing.
Brendan Lee Mulligan hits on that a lot, where he talks about how like he would rather just do like a short campaign than do a one shot, because with the one shot you not only have to set up, but also you have to set up the premise, you have to play it out, and you also have to close it all in one sitting. It's just like a lot.
Why my first foray into DMing wasn't a campaign or a one shot. It was what I like to call a mini series. It was like 8-10 sessions long.
Brought to you
It
by
was
HBO.
really bad.
Wait,
It was
was
horribly unbalanced. I
Was
didn't
that
know what I was
Suicide
doing,
Squad?
but I learned so much from it.
Was it
So
Suicide Squad?
that was Rastfall Boys.
It was Rascal Boys. Yeah.
Rashford
Rashford Boys.
Yeah.
And then Suicide Squad happened sometime around the same time.
Yeah. But yeah.
That was also horribly unbalanced. What
But
are you
I mean,
talking about?
As long as people have fun, who gives a shit? Like, what does it matter?
You guys were about to fight something that was going to murk you guys, and I
believe
was like,
it.
"Oh, this should be fine."
It's
Now that I
fine.
have so much more experience and like understanding of this stuff, I was like, "Yeah, that would have been horrible. You guys would have died."
Errors. So I think, I mean, I don't want to throw people under the bus. So I think of all of us, Alan, you've messaged me a lot about your adventure. Which, okay, I need to give a little, from my end, I need to give my perspective of this. Last time I spoke to Alan, he mentioned like, yeah, so Logan, do you do any campaigns through Start Playing? I was like, not really. And he said, okay, some of my friends want to do a campaign. And most of us were like, Alan, be a DM. You'd be so good at it. And he was like, yeah, I guess, maybe. And then the next, like, 2 or 3 days, Alan has sent me multiple long texts about his adventure idea. And, like, multiple things of, like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this. Here's my idea. Here's what the conflict is. Here's the bad guys, all sorts of stuff. And it warms my heart so much. And then also, Carson, you were the only other person who has not DM things.
I have not. I have wanted to do
You
it.
wanted
for a long
to do
time.
it. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because like it's funny that we've all at least dabbled in it to some degree, and or wanting to. I love it. I love it so much.
Oh yeah.
It's a different experience. It's very fun, just because like, especially if, like when you like pick the right people to play with and communicate really well with them, it ends up being like Eberano, where you just every time we play, it's a really good time, and nobody leaves feeling frustrated. Everybody's just like, "Wow, that was great. Let's hang out more."
It's that idea of not all D&D is good D&D. Just because you're playing doesn't mean it's going to be amazing.
But this is good D&D.
It's some good shit.
I'll also say it just changes the way that you play as a player as well.
True.
Once you've been behind the scenes, you're just like you start looking at things a little differently.
It makes me honestly, it's made me play like less optimized.
Oh God, yeah.
Because like,
100%.
even if I know what something does, like I'm gonna be dumb anyway. like even if a counter is like you should not do this thing, it'd make no sense mechanically for you to do this thing. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna punch him.
It's like,
Like-
but do I want to though? Yes.
I do.
God, that I had to fight every instinct during that beholder fight, Austin. Because I have, as a player, I have run a beholder and fought a beholder, so I know what's in store. But I had to the best that I could, mute every instinct of like, okay, I can't use this ability. I should use this ability. I shouldn't use this ability. Blah 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 blah. Like, oh god.
I tried my best to do the same thing and not go like I run over here because I know this
Hard.
cone won't reach me, because like we wouldn't know that. Like our characters, like none of our characters would have seen a beholder or really heard of a beholder. Like they don't write sea shanties about
Yeah.
beholders. So I'm, as a pirate, I'm not gonna know shit about beholder. So
And
you
as and in a world lacking any sort of formal magical or arcane education
yeah.
system,
nobody would
beholders
know.
are totally foreign.
Yeah,
you guys still
absolutely.
don't even know what the fuck you just
No,
fought. You
I
just don't have
don't.
a bunch of eyes, and it
I'm
shot
but a
things.
simple
And-
barbarian. When I
Yeah.
see a thing, I hit it.
I am but a pirate. I
hit
stab
it
with
and do
sword and run.
5d6 plus 27 damage.
Jesus.
So,
Uh,
I want to share with you guys what Alan sent, because I
Oh.
bragged to Rachel about it. Yeah, Alan's probably gonna be a little embarrassed. So he sent me a screenshot of a text doc of his session idea, which was awesome.
I've
But
had to convert that to a Word doc because I started writing a bit much.
that tracks. But before I could even read the screenshot, I saw his text. And his text was, "This sprouted from the idea of wanting a mining crew to fight college interns. I can explain the interns later." And that's, I just saw the text and I was like,
That's the only part
What?
that needs explaining, yeah.
yeah. And then later on, he sent me a follow-up text, and I was like, "That's freaking awesome." And then again, he sent me multiple texts, so I only saw like one or two of them. And he sent the text, and I quote, "I want to use Dracotars, which I assume are dragon minotaurs or something, and
Yeah,
a
it was-
plant dragon." And I am, yeah. And he just
No,
sent me
A what?
a plant
hear it.
dragon.
Oh.
Plant dragon. And he sent me this thing and then followed with a long text explaining the concept, and I'm like, I love it. I don't even know what this is about. I'm already in love.
Forest dragons.
That is why I love passing on, like, hey, you DM. Or, like, even now, I want to, like, if you guys want to publish an adventure or items or monsters, I want to do that for you. Because you guys have such cool ideas. And I love it.
Bro, you said that and I had an existential crisis moment. I was like, I could publish a monster compendium of things that I've created for Karimia. I could publish an items compendium of shit I've created for
Yeah.
Karimia.
Do it. Just
This
send me
could
the
go
shit
so
and I'll
far.
format it. I'll
Yeah.
balance it and format it
Bro.
for you, and we're good.
Yeah, that just means one thing, Logan. You're not allowed to read the Wish Dragon stat block.
I'm not sure he's gonna want to.
I don't
You're
think
not
I
allowed
would.
to read it.
I'll get back to you. I'll think on it.
You're not
But
allowed
yeah,
to read it.
like, that's like, oh,
You might
God.
also be upset.
And honestly, because I loved this so much, we might do a bunch of obscure holiday one-shots. That way I can be like, hey, you know, Carson, DM. Hey, Todd, DM this one-shot for Sharn Nights. Hey, Alan, DM this Sharn Nights one-shot. Because you guys have such cool ideas. Todd, you had the cleric idea for Sharn, an urban cleric.
Yeah, that shit was tight.
Fucking
You saw me
cool.
about it.
I've already like I've already decided what my if we do like a sequel like thing that we've talked about doing. I already made my character. I'm already gonna do a human heart mark of the Sentinel dragon marked house city cleric. It's essentially gonna be like a bodyguard that just knows the city so well and uses that to like protect his clients. Already came up with a name. I've already got the backstory. I'm ready to go.
I talked to
I already have the reroll. I already have the reroll.
Oh,
out
yeah,
front.
the reroll.
God.
Yep.
I think like I talked about it with you, Logan, briefly about the paladin rogue that
Yep.
I had.
Because just that concept is so busted because the city cleric just has so many things, and like Varian has the stuff where he can like add a D4 to like certain checks. The Dragon Mark House the Sentinel one is anytime you make an insight or perception check, you can add a D4, which I already would have
Insight
proficiency and expertise in.
That's
So
fucking wild.
it would be, yeah. I didn't, and the thing is, like, I didn't pick that because of that. They're just things that happen to line up. Because like
The
that's not
theme,
how I
yeah.
make characters. Like I don't make characters being like, this is gonna be busted. That just happened to be that way.
Travis, how are you still awake right now?
Carefully.
He's been staying up really late.
I don't work for last week, this week, or the
Congratulations.
next.
Yeah.
And also, Austin,
Thanks.
how are you still awake?
Very carefully.
Yo, I drank a coffee and a Code Red. I'm like blasted right now. I'm
not-
energetic.
I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I was like, I gotta go toilet cat, like I was starting to doze off, so I had to get up. I did go to the bathroom, but I had to like get up. I was like, I'm gonna fall asleep in my chair, and now I'm all right.
Good. That's
So-
good.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say you almost fell asleep on the toilet or something.
That's what I thought he
That
was
is
going
a
to say too.
possibility. That is always an unfortunate possibility for me.
As
Is that I
Angel
could
has
just pass
shown.
out on the toilet. So
No, fuck.
I passed out playing my instrument
Oh my
in a
God.
concert.
Oh my god.
I remember that. Holy shit.
I just out in the middle of a concert. It was bad. So it is always a possibility.
Well, on that note, are there any final questions for Xavier about this one shot, or vice versa? Xavier, is there anything else you want to tell us about that one shot?
I have a question for Xavier.
Yeah.
You want to play Rocket League after this?
Well, that was a given. That was the standing offer for everyone.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Question. Oh, I just want to know. Do you guys ever just? I didn't tell you this.
You guys
Sorry,
ever just?
Every time someone says you ever just, I always laugh. I don't know why. It's just a funny set. It's like always a setup to a joke, even if there's no
You ever
joke.
just?
You ever just?
I was like, do you ever just make when you're planning a session? Do you ever just add something that's just like, if things are going completely against my way, I have this one trick that will just destroy the night.
Yes.
No comment.
So remember how I said that the final fight was supposed to take place at the ice skating ring where the Rockefeller of Sharn is? Well, one thing about the Rockefeller is that there is a giant tree, a huge tree.
No.
It would have. I was like, and I wrote in my notes. I was like, depending on how the characters are looking, either have the Christmas tree set on fire or turn into a Christmas tree Rex.
A
I-
Christmas tree Rex?
Tree Rex.
That's
yeah.
hilarious that you said that because I was about to turn into a T-Rex, but I was like, the T-Rex is too big to fit in this house.
Because one thing that
And I
concerned me,
looked up.
I was
Go
just
ahead,
like,
sorry.
everyone is spellcasters, and I was like, there's so many spellcasters, and I was like, they could easily just like wreck all my plans. And I was like, but if we get here and they're like looking pretty good, and it looks like they're gonna like beat up Krampus in like one round, I was like, I could just stomp them.
Jesus.
Beat your ass.
No, when I asked how tall the roof
Oh
was,
my
I was
God.
literally gonna be like turn into a T-Rex and just bite Krampus's head off. But I looked up how tall T-Rexes were, and it said between 12 and 20 feet. And I was like, okay, I'm good. I'll just hunch down.
Xavier clicks open the clear plastic cover on a big red button that just says Free Rex.
Tree Rex.
T-Rex.
Yeah, I was debating. I was just like, man, because that was my straight up just like, if you guys were just blowing through all the encounters and just like go rushing through the one shot, I was like, the tree Rex will slow them down. It has to.
And then we spent an hour at a Christmas party.
Yeah, your fatal flaw there was thinking we would progress too quickly.
Honestly, I
rather than
can
just gumming up the works.
I can say yes to a degree, because the three of the people in the chat that are in the campaign that I run, Their crew is 4 people. They're level 11, and they literally just demolish everything I throw at them. And I'm like, that's cool. I gave them good magic items.
Usually it's either in some weird roundabout way or Arthur and Lazarus like cleave through them in a moment.
Fucking demolish.
So,
So I was like, all right. How do I
feel that
challenge?
so much, man? Because my crew that I play Theros
Oh,
with,
see, Alan.
Bye, Alan.
my crew that I play Theros with, straight up just destroys it. And any morsel of an idea that I have, it's like gone. I'm like, okay,
But
this
yeah,
is gonna
like,
be full on improv. Let's go.
but to finish that thought up, I was like, I want to challenge them without it being unfairly hard. So I need to throw something that's gonna be significantly challenging enough, but not gonna be totally just like beat the brakes off of them. So that's why I gave the Beholder a Greater Shield Guardian, which is a CR10, 4 Warforged soldiers, and the Beholder was 100 feet up in the air in darkness, where none of them but Logan's character could see,
Yep.
just pointing the anti-magic
And
ray
we're
at them, which basically
level
gimped all of them.
11.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
that beholder would have stayed up there if it wasn't for what our cleric successfully rolling divine
Fire
intervention.
That was broken.
Yeah,
Broken
that's the
AF.
first time that's literally ever happened for me, period. Like, as a
Yeah.
player, as a DM, I've never seen divine intervention work, except for right then. He rolled the exact number he needed. And he was like, I can't believe. He was like, holy shit. And I was like, did you do it? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh my fucking god.
And now we're about to get our asses beat in a
Yeah.
war. Oh, jeez.
Hey, both of you.
No, that's pretty accurate. But, so yeah, any final questions for Xavier or any final statements?
It's the holiday season.
I like to ask this whenever I DM for like a new group or anything. Anything that you guys, any advice or things that you thought I could maybe improve on?
I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah,
Let me think about it.
readily
Let me
comes
think about
to
it
mind.
when I'm gonna think about it when I go to sleep tonight, in 2 hours.
There is
I
nothing that
really
readily
enjoyed your like storytelling style, like including like smells in the description, and just added that extra element of just like shit. I can imagine myself in this apartment, and particularly if you wanted us to leave the apartment, the advice I might give was just to make the fire bigger.
Make the fire bigger.
Fire figure. Yeah.
because clearly none of us had anything to magical
I
to
have
deal with
no
it.
water spells. I don't have any frost spells.
All my stuff was fire, and we see how that
All of
fucking
my
turned
stuff-
out.
I chose Charizard, not Blastoise. So.
Yeah, that's what
All of my shit is psychic based most of the time, or mental, some kind of mental influence. I was like, I have nothing for this.
Which I mean, hey,
Yeah,
it
throwing
worked.
the punch bowl at it
Yeah.
was throwing the punch bowl was the best I ever
Yeah.
could do. Yeah.
I was thinking about just like trying to like break the water main or something and just like spraying water that way, but I was like, man, the Grey Castle's gonna be mad. I was just gonna,
I was just gonna summon Unseen Servant, like, they're like, hey, throw it over the balcony.
Yeet that bitch.
Eat that bitch. Oh man, that was a lot of fun.
Make the fire bigger.
Make the fire bigger. Honestly, one
Party's
thing,
mortal weakness fire.
you kind of gave people the room to just like do shit, and so we just kind of got to like act and
Yeah.
do things. It was nice.
I felt like we got to be creative, and I like that. That's my main thing with DMs is like I like it when we can bend the rules a little bit just for fun, just for a more cohesive experience.
I
I think,
absolutely agree. I also would have really liked to do an aerial chase of Krampus.
That would be so much fun.
Sitting there like blasting at him, trying to shoot him down.
I was gonna say like
Santa,
hearing
can
now.
this thing straight.
Oh, hold on!
Now, I have a question now that I'm thinking about this. If we had been in an aerial chase with Krampus,
Mm-hmm.
are we talking like Krampus is flying or he's flying on something?
So that could have gone one of two ways. Either he could have stolen Santa's sleigh,
Okay.
and you would have needed to chase and shoot that down, or he could have just flown and you could have shot him down. while
Okay.
you're in Santa's sleigh.
So, if he stole Santa's sleigh, could I have cast banishment on the sleigh?
Just drop him.
Just, boop, just the fucking sleigh just disappears. He goes, "Wait a minute."
Does
banishment
it
work on
specify a
objects?
creature? Yeah, does it
It's-
specify it has to be a creature?
come on, okay?
I said,
All right,
"Come on."
semantics police.
No, but like that's Travis was with me on that. Like it depends.
I would allow
Okay,
it,
and
but I also
It's
would.
a Christmas
That's
one
not how half
shot.
the spells we used works tonight. So
No, it's a Christmas one shot. We can do whatever.
Nah.
If you would have casted it on the reindeer, maybe.
Ooh.
okay, all right.
Oh.
I'll keep that in mind.
All you gotta do is just
Assuming
get rid
I'm
of Rudolph, and the whole thing
Yeah,
just falls
fucking
into.
banish Rudolph.
And then they can't see.
Yeah.
God.
Okay. Well, this is about the time where I say good fucking night.
Yes,
It's 2 o'clock.
we have hit the 45-minute mark for our things. That's
Our
fine.
podcast.
Our little podcast,
God.
I guess. I don't know. But thank you guys. I'm gonna go play some rock.
Yeah, I'm already playing Rocket
That's
League.
the routine for me, at least.
Good night to all, and to all
So
a
good night, everybody. I'm just going to stop recording here right